All right, welcome to Comedy on 11, the show where I talk about comedy and music, usually with my friends, once again in the studio by myself, because scheduling is really hard, you guys. It's the summertime. People are either on the road working, because that's what comedians and musicians do, or they're off with their families doing things. It's also been a very busy couple of weeks for me, but I'm back. I wanted to do this episode because I had a fun episode and fun talk with my friend Kimberly Clark last week. If you listen to that episode, we talked about our comedy DNA and our musical DNA, and I wanted to talk about that. But a bunch of things happened since last week, and I kind of wanted to get into it because it goes back to some of the stuff that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago with about getting your hands on gear and playing it and touching it and finding out if it's the stuff that you love. And then something happened last night at a show that made me go, oh, where has this happened before? How has this happened to me before? And I will tell you, because musicians understand this, guitarists especially. Sometimes when you get a set list and you're thinking about practicing or rehearsing, and you're like, I don't have to rehearse this song. I've played it a million times. If I play Living on a Prayer or Sweet Child of Mine one more time, I'm going to jump out a window. So you think to yourself, oh, I know this song. I've played the song a million times. I can hear the first couple chords in my head, and that's all I really need, right? So that happened to me yesterday with a song that I wrote. So I was at stage at the Laugh Factory, and it was in Long Beach. I drove down there, and I haven't picked up my guitar to practice in probably a week because we're doing some house renovation stuff. I'm literally doing manual labor for up to 6 or 7 hours a day on top of running my business and being a comedian and doing all the other things that I have to do. But I'm doing renovation work on our house along with a couple of my Army buddies who are also doing the work with me. And quite frankly, I'm exhausted by the time I'm done. And the thing is, I have it in my phone. I have a to-do list in my phone, and one of the to-do lists in my phone literally says 1 hour of practice. But I haven't. I haven't for a bunch of reasons. I just haven't. So I did this set at the Laugh Factory last night, and there's a song that I wrote. It's the first song that I usually play, when I'm doing stand-up. It's part of my album that I'm recording, Trantastic. Trantastic. Also, if you want one of the shirts, ThomTranShop.com. Anyway, so it's a song that I wrote, and I've been playing nonstop for months, and it's a great comedy music opener. Recently, I haven't been playing it on stage when I do play, because there's a couple other tunes that I've been trying to knock out and test on stage and try out to audiences. So there's a new booker at the Laugh Factory, and this happens all the time. You want to impress the booker. You want to make sure the booker goes, oh, this guy's actually really funny. I'm trying to see if the thing is focusing, because it looks like it's focusing on my guitar. I don't know. Let me try to tap this. There we go. Did that work? Sure. Who knows? If you're listening to this on the podcast, you're probably wondering what the hell I'm talking about. Anyway, so there's a new booker at the Laugh Factory. She was at the club again last night. And the first time she saw me, I'm not going to hesitate to say that I killed, but I killed. Because, the first time booker sees you, you want to pull out your A game, and you want to crush. So that's what I did. And I feel like the first impression that I made was pretty good. She said her friends were there. She said I had her friends going, which is, good. She was there again last night. And I did a bunch of new stuff, but I also didn't want to have her hear the same songs that I did the last time. And the last time, like I said, I didn't play this first song off the album or off the live recording that we're gonna do. And I did the thing where I'm like, I know this song. I wrote this song. And I knew I should have knew something was wrong when I stumbled through the intro of the song, the chords of the intro of the song. Because I was like, oh no, I kind of forget the rhythm of the song. Like I knew the chords, and I'm like, oh no, how's the song go? But I'm on stage already. I'm already playing. I'm already strumming the chords. And I'm like, in my head, I'm going, what are the words? But also I'm trying to talk to the audience and do the comedian thing of, not just standing there and strumming these chords. But I'm like, I'm trying to think of the chords. I'm trying to think of the rhythm. I'm trying to think of the lyrics. I'm trying to vamp and talk to the audience while I'm up there. I finally get into the rhythm of it. And I get the first verse and the first chorus out. And then I get to the second verse and I'm literally like, oh no, I don't remember the words to this song that I wrote. And luckily it's stand-up comedy, so I could laugh it off. The audience laughed it off. And I did it in a way that, hopefully the booker and her boyfriend who were there wouldn't go, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. I clearly know what I'm doing. They've seen me know what I'm doing. But this was like one of those moments where I'm like, oh no. And I think I may have taken it way harder if this was the first time they saw me. I would be absolutely beating myself to death over this if this was her first exposure to me. But luckily the first time I crushed. I did well last night. It's just I forgot the second verse of the song. And I drove home like going, what is the second verse to the song that I wrote? I sat down and I practiced today. I made myself sit down and practice today. And then I went, oh yeah, that's how this song goes. And after that, I looked at my notes. I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. Man, it was terrifying only to me because, when you're in a band situation, at least you have the rest of the band to cover up your flub. You know what I mean? And, but even then, sometimes, it's just bad. Like, it's like, when a solo and you're like, I don't have to practice this solo. And then you get 2 bars into the solo and you're like, oh no, I forgot how the rest of this goes. But at least with a solo, you can noodle and vamp your way around that, unless it's like a very well-known solo, like if you're doing a cover or something. But I had nothing and no one to back me up last night, which is one of those things that's like, it's so nerve-wracking. And it's the difference between comedy and music. I mean, I guess if you're a solo artist and you're playing in a cafe, or it's just you don't want to be in that situation still, especially if it's your own song. I saw a video one time of Richie Sambora. This was crazy. I saw a video of Richie Sambora and his band. They were playing live in like a little bar, or not a bar, but a music venue, so a rock club, a few hundred people. And someone yelled out the name of a song from his first solo album. The song's called Rosie, and the album's called Stranger in This Town. It's one of my favorite Bon Jovi songs. It was actually supposed to be a Bon Jovi song for, I think, the New Jersey album, because I've heard a demo of it with John singing on it. And Richie wound up doing a blues rock version of it for his album Stranger in This Town. One of my favorite songs from the album. And so that had to be, let's see, 97, 98 when Stranger in This Town came out. Maybe 90. Let's see. Richie was playing the Fender Custom Sambora Stratocaster. They started working on that in 93. So maybe 93, 95-ish. I could probably look this up. Computer, when did Richie Sambora's Stranger in This Town get released?
From Wikipedia.org. Sambora's first solo album was 1991's Stranger in This Town, a blues-influenced album that charted at number 36 on the Billboard 200 and number 20 on the UK Albums Chart.
Okay, so I was wrong. It was 1991. All right. So anyway, so the album comes out in 1991, and this is recently. This is like within the last 5-6 years since the whole Sambora leaving Bon Jovi thing happened, and he's at a club, and someone yells out "Rosie," and he had to remember the song. He forgot how to play the song. And I don't know if he felt the way I did last night. Absolutely nerve-wracked at the fact that I couldn't remember words that I had written. And it's not like I've written a billion songs, but I've written a billion jokes. But this was different. Like, I didn't know what material I wanted to do last night. I was thinking of like banger jokes that I've done that I haven't done in a set recently that I knew I didn't do the last time she saw me. That was also the other thing. I was like in my head about this whole like, it's the new Booker. She's seeing me for the second time. I don't want to do the exact same material. And it's all in my head. It's all in my head. Because most comedians know, like, I didn't even know this about comedy, but like most comedians know, you're not writing new material. You're not going up with a new 15 or 20 minute set every time you get on stage. I don't know if people who watch comedy know that. You don't go on stage with a new 15 or 20 minutes all the time, unless you're Josh Johnson. I take that back. Unless you're Josh Johnson, you're not going up on stage every time with a new 15 or 20. But maybe he's the standard. Maybe like that's the new standard that we should be shooting for, like doing new material all the time. Anyway, it was all in my head. I was like, oh, she's seeing me for the second time. I want to do killer stuff, but I want to do stuff that I know that works. I want to do new stuff for myself. I did some new stuff last night. God, there was a night recently when I did a whole set of new stuff that I'd been working on. I think it was like after I saw Superman, which, by the way, banger of a movie. It made me... Okay, so the way I felt watching Top Gun Maverick is the way I felt watching James Gunn's Superman. Although I did not have a connection with Top Gun the way I have with Superman. Quite frankly, I don't know if I've seen the first Top Gun. I mean, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I know the music from it. I know the gist of it. But I don't know if I've actually seen Top Gun. Like, it's so much in the zeitgeist. I think it's in there. But I watched Top Gun Maverick, and I got all the feels. Same thing with Superman. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So I did the thing. I did the thing. I did a whole set of new material. I know it was like after I saw Superman because it was mostly Superman jokes. Anyway, I did the thing last night where I started playing and I'm like, oh no, I don't remember the song. And it just reminded me of all the times I would have to sit and like go over set lists for the band. And I'm like, oh my God, are we playing Hit Me With Your Best Shot one more time? Or am I doing this Bon Jovi song again? And and as a musician, I should know better. I should know better than that. But it's a weird thing where like, oh yeah, now I know what my point was. So I did a bunch of new jokes and older jokes that I haven't done in a while that I guess because it's comedy, I don't know. I guess because it's comedy, like I could fidget my way around it, but still comedy is about timing, you know? Not as much as when, you know, there's a song that involves actual melodies and harmonies and timing, and you got to know what the words are. At least with comedy, you can fudge your way around that. So I don't know, man. I left feeling kind of defeated by myself. Like the audience thought it was great last night. From the reaction I got, the comics were like, killer set. So like in my head, it was just me. It was me going, oh no, I effed up. Yeah. I don't know, man. I just went, oh no, I messed this up. But again, if it was the first time she'd seen me, I probably would have written an apology email today and been like, hey, listen, I was having an off night. But I did all right. I did the thing. That's why I sat down today. I was like, I have to play. I have to practice. And it's not that I hate, I mean, we all hate practicing. Let's be very honest. Let's be real about that. We all hate practicing. But it's a thing, man. You got to do it. And last night was like, it was a brutal example to myself that, yeah, I gotta sit down and I gotta play and I gotta practice. And I definitely, if I'm gonna do a song during a stand-up set, yeah, I gotta refresh, not like while I'm on stage going, oh, I'm gonna do this today. And I think I'm so used to, you know, sometimes when I'm doing stand-up, I go off on a rant and I start talking about one thing and I go, oh, here's a joke I wasn't going to do. And then I do the joke. But even then, sometimes I'm like, I don't remember how this joke goes. But I always wind up like getting myself there, getting myself to that didn't come out the way I wanted to. I always wind up getting to the punchline, which at the end of the day is what matters. But the problem is I didn't even get to the punchline last night. I got to a couple of the punchlines in the song, but yeah, that was kind of emotionally exhausting for me, what happened last night. So taught myself a lesson. Practice every day. It's weird because, like I said, I have this to-do list on my phone, and every day I put in, you know, stuff I got to get done for the day, and that should be at the very top every day. But it always gets buried behind like send emails and you know, get this pitch ready and get do show prep for the show. But I guess it really needs to be at the top of my everyday to-do list, you know? Speaking of show prep, did you like that intro? Or that segue? I like that. Speaking of show prep, I'm doing a new thing. Again, I'm going to continue doing this show, Comedy on 11, because it really is. It's comedy and music and it's the stuff that I love. And even if I don't have a guest on, I've found, you know, just doing these by myself, talking to you, talking about gear, talking about comedy and music, I can do it. It's scheduling. Scheduling is a nightmare, especially when your friends and your guests are like comedians and they're all off doing comedian things. But I am doing a new thing. I've ventured into a new project, and people are always like, "Why are you doing so many projects? Just focus." I think it's because once I stop having fun doing something, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Once the thing becomes work, once it becomes more stressful than the fun that I'm having. And I think that goes back to like the not practicing that song that I wrote, that I know, that came from my dark comedic heart. It's not that I don't love it. It's I have a new song that I'm working on. It's the one that I've been taking to the clubs and trying to bang out. But I wrote a bridge for this new song that made me laugh so hard. I scared my cat. I fell over. I farted a couple times. It made me laugh so much. And that's the feeling I want to have all the time when I'm doing anything. I want to enjoy it. I want to love it. I want to have fun with it. And I think practicing, comedy is about, it's about the surprise. It's about the twist. And for an audience, when they get the surprise and they get the twist, cool. It's great. And I want them to get the surprise and twist. When I got to practice these songs over and over and over and over and over again, the surprise and the twist is gone for me. So maybe I feel like that's why I stopped practicing that song, like everything after this first chorus. And that's why I forgot it. And I started writing this new tune, and I banged out the first two verses in a day. And then a couple days later, I was like, I need a bridge. I need something else in here. And I wrote this bridge, and it made me laugh so damn hard. I was like, this is one of my favorite things. And a new joke that makes me laugh like that is always one of my new favorite things, because it gives me that joy. It gives me that laughter. That gives me that uncontrollable, like, this is so dumb and funny. With that said, I've had many podcasts over my podcasting career. Scary Funny, which is still great. I still love it. It's just, that was so hard, especially with my co-host moving to Atlanta. And, it's a subject that it's getting people on to talk about that is difficult, because unless unless the guest really believes in that stuff and has really had experiences with that stuff, it can be not fun to have those conversations when I'm sitting there and just like pulling teeth from these people who don't actually believe or feel like they've had an experience, one of those things. When they do, it's a blast. It's great. But when they don't, it's kind of, and I would have loved continuing to do it with Deshaun, but he is in Atlanta. This I'm going to keep doing, because again, I love talking music and I love talking comedy. And as long as I have something to say, or something to talk about, I'm going to do it. I prefer to have a friend here to talk comedy and music with, but the 2 episodes that I've done in the studio by myself and the road episode that I did, kind of showed myself, I can do this. I can still have fun talking about comedy and music. I think I have more fun when someone's here. I can bounce ideas off them, obviously. But with that said, I came up with an idea for a game show. It started as a thing between me and 2 other friends. And I was like, oh my God, this could be great. And then I developed it. And I did the first episode yesterday with a couple of comedian friends of mine, and it was so fun. And that's the thing about this job. It was so much fun with people I have fun talking to and messing with, and doing this quiz show was a blast. I had an amazing time doing it. So I'm going to keep doing comedy on 11. It may be just me for a while, talking gear and comedy and music to you and with you. But I'm going to be working on this new game show, which the plan is to have 20 episodes in the can and done before I release any of them. Because that's the one thing that's so hard when it comes to this show or any other show that I've done. It's keeping things consistent, which is why when I don't have a guest, I got to do it by myself because it's so hard between my schedule and everybody else's schedule. And the show I had planned the trivia show, the game show. I'd only planned, I was like, oh yeah, it'll be 15 minutes tops. We'll do a 15-minute episode. Wound up being a half hour of just the most fun with a couple of comics that I love talking to. So I'm going to be working on that. I think I made a joke during the show about, go to our website unless I failed to register the name of the website, which it turns out I didn't. I got it. I wound up getting the website. I wound up getting the social media stuff for it. So I'm excited. But I do want to have, I told myself I want 20 episodes in the can before I start releasing them. And that might take a while. I mean, I'm doing 2 more episodes tomorrow. I'm going to, release them once a week. I'll do the podcast on Tuesdays. I'll release the trivia show on Thursdays. But yeah, that's a thing that I'm going to be doing. I'm excited about it. And I wanted to just kind of mention that. So yeah, very excited about it. What's the name of the show, you ask? I will sit on that information until right before I'm ready to release the information or release the shows. I'm really hoping to get a bunch of these in the can sooner than later because boy, I got a lot going on. Boy, do I have a lot going on. You know what? Let's bring up my website and I will tell you exactly how much I have going on right now. Switch to my tour dates. This is what's going on. Bugger. So I usually save this for the end of the show, but I've got a bunch of shows in LA and then I'm going to be in San Diego. I'm going to be doing a comedy festival in Oklahoma coming up in August. And then my busy season starts. My busy season is basically September until November. Almost into December because usually, we do the military stuff, ramping up to that. November's always busy with, Veterans Day stuff. And then a lot of organizations have figured out the smart thing is to not schedule all their stuff right around Veterans Day because it gets very expensive for them to hire talent because we're already booked doing other stuff. So anyway, I'm hoping to do a bunch of these game shows, but again, renovating the house. I got to practice every day. I'm doing gigs in town, but I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited about the show. And I'm excited. It was so much fun. And that's what this thing is about. Yeah, I want to make people think and say something with my comedy, but it's about fun and it's about laughing. So yeah, that's what it's about. With all that said, that was the comedy portion, but also music portion of Comedy on 11. Let's talk about some music. So a little while ago, a couple, 3 episodes ago, I think I was talking about, how a lot of these music stores are closing. PMT in the UK closed. Sam Ash closed last year. And I talked about how hard it is to find a place and to have a place where you can find your musical DNA and write that your musical story and history. And one of the reasons is, so sometimes when you want to play an instrument, you want to get it in your hands. If you want to buy an instrument, especially a more premium instrument, a high-priced instrument, you want to get your hands on it. You want to play it. You want to feel it. You want to hear it. And I was talking about the close acoustic carbon fiber guitars that I wanted to get my hands on. Well, as it turns out, I was right. I was right. You know, when you have to get your hands on a piece of gear to feel it and to love it. And I reached out to Close and I said, hey, listen, this is what I want. And I did extensive research. This is how much research I did. I put this little chart together. This is an actual, and if you're listening to the podcast on podcast through your iPod or whatever, you're not going to be able to see this, but I'll describe it. This is an Excel sheet, basically, that I put together with the 4 guitars, 2 of which I currently play, 2 that I wanted to play. And I compared them, you know, by size, by width, by weight, and basically what I wanted. This is what I want. I want a good sounding acoustic guitar with built-in effects for reasons I will discuss later. That I can travel with, that I can be sure, relatively, it won't be absolutely destroyed during travel. And then I found the close carbon fiber acoustic guitars. So the 2 that I've been looking at is this Close Grand Cutaway, which is a black carbon fiber guitar. It's a grand auditorium shape and size, but there was also the Grand Cutaway Mini, which is slightly smaller, which is why I put together this Excel sheet. You know, I'm currently playing the Yamaha FSC TA. I'm also playing the Taylor 612 CE. I've got that one sitting in a case around here somewhere. So I literally put this spreadsheet together and just pined over it for weeks, looking at the body size, the total width, body depth, body width, all of that. And I pulled the trigger finally, and I reached out to Close Guitars, and I was like, hey, I really want to get my hands on one of your guitars, and obviously the only way I'm going to do that is if I order it. So I ordered the Grand Cutaway. That's this guitar right here on your screen if you were watching on the YouTube page. If not, you can go to closeguitars.com, check out the Grand Cutaway. So I ordered that one, and I got it, and it is everything that is advertised. Like, I watched Paul from Guitar World take his out of a box and literally put it together, and in 2 minutes he was playing. Maybe it was a little more than that. And I'm actually gonna do a video on my experience taking it out of the box, getting it put together, and tuning it up. And you're thinking to yourself, Tom, what do you mean putting it together? So the Grand Cutaway carbon fiber guitar has a detachable carbon fiber neck that you just remove those 4 screws from the back, you fold it down, and it's your travel guitar. It's your travel guitar. And because it's carbon fiber, it's not affected by heat, cold. You can play it outside. You can leave it in your car. You know, and that's one of the things that when I started thinking about it, I was like, yeah, that is important. That's like really important. You know, because, you know, all musicians know this. You don't leave your instrument in the car. You don't just leave your guitar or your bass in the car. But in LA, sometimes that, you know, if I got a gig at night and I got an audition during the day and I got stuff to do and I don't have time to go back to my house and get my guitar before a gig, I got to leave it in the car. And quite frankly, sometimes I just come home and it's 1 o'clock in the morning and I just want to go to bed. The guitar just sits in my trunk and then I forget it all day the next day. And it's however 90 plus degrees in the summer here. And that is a problem. That's a major problem. but having a carbon fiber guitar that like is literally built to be traveled with, to go outside, to play out in the snow and the weather. I mean, there's this photo on their website. Weather, temperature, humidity, impact, no problem. Because the guys who started Close Guitars, a couple brothers, they love outdoorsy stuff. They love doing outdoorsy stuff, and they love guitars, so they wanted an instrument that they could take out outdoors. And eventually I will do, here's an awesome picture. This is one of the pictures that sold me on it. Like, this is a carbon fiber guitar in the snow because it's not wood. It's not being affected by the environment. That's one of the things that sold me on the guitar. Like, I need and want an instrument that I can travel with. Ever since that airline, what was it, United, like trashed that dude's guitar. And I hear horror stories from friends all the time about traveling with gear. I get so nervous traveling with, like, my Taylor 612. That's a $3,000 instrument. I love it. I am frightened to death to travel with it. Even my Yamaha FSC TA. Like, if I travel with it, I'm like, I gotta put it in the hard case, and I gotta put it in the hope that they have a spot in the airline in the coat compartment where I can put it. Like, I did a gig in DC recently where I had to borrow a guitar from someone. Probably didn't want to let me borrow the guitar. That's fine. I made it happen. But just like they say about cameras, the best camera you have is the one you have on you. And the best guitar you have is the one you have on you. And if I don't have a guitar on me, I can't, play some gigs. So anyway, long way of saying I got the Close Grand Cutaway. This black carbon fiber guitar that's about the shape and size of a Grand Auditorium guitar. Problem is, I am a gentleman of not large stature. I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day wearing my jump boots. And I've been so used to playing the FSC TA, the Yamaha, and the Taylor 612. Those are O grand concert style guitars. They're smaller. Like, that's one of the reasons I looked at, I put this chart together, what was the one that got me? The body width. I looked at the body width and I was like, oh, it's almost 15 inches on the Yamaha that I'm playing. The Grand Cutaway is only 9.8. But the body depth, I didn't take into account. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll get the Grand Cutaway. And it turns out the Grand Cutaway is bigger than I wanted. Sounds great, plays great. Oh my God. A buddy of mine came to a show, actually the first show that I played the Grand Cutaway on. And when I listen to video of me playing, it's through like the house system and everything. The audio's getting pumped through the mic into the board. So I hear it a certain way, and I'm on stage and I'm listening to it through the monitors. My buddy sent me a video that he shot on his iPhone. Also, don't videotape at comedy clubs. I asked him to do it. It's okay. But don't, in general, videotape at comedy clubs. Comedians effing hate it when you do that. Don't do that. For so many reasons. Anyway, so my buddy, I asked him to videotape my set on his phone because I wanted to hear how it sounded from the audience perspective. Because I'm on stage, I have the monitors in front of me. I'm not, exactly getting what you're getting. Oh my goodness. The sound from the high vibe onboard smart pickup system was amazing. It was, I just went, oh my God, that's what the audience is hearing? That sounds great. And I mentioned earlier, you know, I wanted a guitar with onboard effects because when I'm at a comedy club, most of the time, 99% of the time, the sound person is not a sound person. They're a fader person. They put the fader up, they bring the fader down. They don't know acoustically what's going to sound great. And most of the time, they don't have the equipment to do so because it's a comedy club. You just need a microphone and a person talking into it. You don't need typically reverb and delay and chorus and all that other fun stuff that musicians want. And I remember one time listening to the recording of a set that I was doing. I was, listening to the song to see what kind of reaction it was getting and what I could do better. And it sounded so dry. It was terrible. It was just the guitar it sounded like it was in a tiny little shoebox, and it sounded awful. And short of bringing, a reverb pedal or a chorus pedal, which is totally doable if it's a concert venue and I'm the only act playing there. But normally in LA, there's minimum 3-5 other people on the show, and I don't have time to get up there and set up my pedal board and hope somebody doesn't kick it. And I mean, I did a gig at the Ice House back in February where someone literally by accident unplugged the DI that I had sound checked earlier that day. And when I got up, the friggin' guitar didn't work. So I needed a guitar, and I wanted a guitar with onboard effects so that I can control as much as possible how the guitar sounds. Anyway, so I get the Grand Cutaway. It's got the onboard effects. It's got the high vibe smart pickup system. And I play it. Looks great. Sounds great. Easy to set up. I have no fear taking this on the road. However, as I mentioned, slightly bigger depth that I want. It's a grand auditorium. So, it's about the size of a 614. So I reached out to Close and I said, hey, listen, not loving the Grand Cutaway, but the Grand Cutaway Mini I am interested in. So they're sending me a Grand Cutaway Mini, which is, according to my numbers, the Grand Cutaway is a 25.5-inch scale. The Cutaway Mini, 24 3/4, so more of a Gibson style, Gibson size. Total length, 36.2 inches, so like a full 4 inches shorter than the Grand Cutaway, which is weird because it's gonna be shorter than my FSC TA, but this is the big one. The body depth is 8.74 inches as opposed to 9.8 on the Grand Cutaway and 14.9 on the FSC, and it's 15 inches on my Taylor 612. So I'm gonna get my hands on the Grand Cutaway Mini. That's on its way. I believe it should get here like Wednesday or Thursday if the shipping on the Grand Cutaway Mini is anything like the one. They got it to me fast. They got it to me fast. Like, I had to check. I was like, this can't be right. They got it to me fast. So, I got the Grand Cutaway. It's great. If I was a bigger dude, if I was a Jared James Nichols, that would probably suit me perfectly. But for me, I'm going to get the Grand Cutaway Mini. I'm going to try that out. I'm going to see how I like it. Same deal. Carbon fiber, not affected by the weather, humidity, temperature. You can play it outside. It weighs under 4 pounds. I've heard, the videos of people playing them. Same deal. You can detach the neck, just unscrew 4 bolts, and boom. Detach the neck. It comes with this custom gig bag that you can just connect, You put the neck separately next to it, and it's just a little backpack, fit an overhead thing. I'm probably still not going to put it in the overhead container. I'll probably still ask to put it in the jacket portion of the airline, for because it's a guitar and it's in a gig bag. So that's the big news in gear for me. I'm very excited about this Grand Cutaway Mini. I'm excited about the Grand Cutaway. I've been playing it, the last couple of gigs. It's a little big for me. That's all it is. It's a little big for me. So I'll get the Mini, and then I'll play that for a few weeks. I'll do a review. I've got a bunch of shows coming up. I'm going to take it on the road with me. I'm going to take it on tour with me. Speaking of which, let's wrap this up with my tour dates. So many. Let's see. This is coming out tomorrow, which is the 22nd. This weekend, I'm going to be in Burbank at Flappers. I'm doing the new comedy club in LA called The Upstairs, and then I'm back at Flappers. I think on Thursday, I'm playing with Jay Leno. And here's the big one. Here's the big one that's coming up. I'm going to be headlining the Laugh Factory in San Diego in the Gas Lamp. 4 nights in San Diego. Here's why it's a big deal. This is also my first time headlining that room. But July 31st, I'm going to be actually there July 31st through August 3rd. But July 31st is going to be a fundraising event for KPBS, which is the public broadcasting station down in San Diego. It's also the home of the GI Film Festival, which is a festival that showcases films and movies and short films and documentaries that are made by, made about, or starring U.S. military veterans. I've been hosting the GI Film Festival Awards show for like the last 5 years, except this year because their budget got absolutely decimated and they just quite frankly couldn't afford to have me down there. So I totally understand. But they mean a lot to me. So I'm using my show on the 31st as a fundraiser to raise money for KPBS. So if you want to come to the show, it's going to be at the Laugh Factory in San Diego, 432 F Street, F as in Foxtrot, in San Diego. I'm going to be there all weekend, but that first show is going to be the fundraiser. If you want to help, go to kpbs.org. You can donate separately and just help them that way. And then, like I said, I'm going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma on August 16th. I'm going to be doing the Blue Whale Comedy Festival. I think I can announce it. They told me I could wait until the 15th to announce it, and it's the 21st as of this recording. So Blue Whale Comedy Festival, August 16th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I may get there a couple days early to go to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, for no reason. No Star Trek-y reason at all. Nope. No Star Trek-y reason that I'm going to go to a city in Oklahoma that I've never had any inclination to go to. That's fine. September 20th, Chicago, Illinois. Going to be doing another fundraiser. I'm going to be opening for David Spade, which is cool. Never worked with David Spade before. And then another fundraiser in October in Buffalo for the International Institute of Buffalo. This is my 3rd consecutive year doing this fundraiser. So I'm excited about that. And then I'll be at the USB Center for the Arts with Brad Williams, opening for Brad. Again, I'm going to be on the road a lot. I'm trying to do as many in LA shows as possible because once my busy season starts rolling, it's busy, which is again why I want like 20 episodes of my quiz show ready and in the can before I go. And then I'm just going to pump them out every week. So yeah, lots happening, lots going on. I got some new gear that I'm very excited about. The Grand Cutaway Mini should be here hopefully Wednesday. If it gets here Thursday, I might have trouble playing it on the show with Jay. But very excited about this new gear. I'm excited about this new trivia show that I'm producing. I'm excited about this new song that I'm writing. Excited about a lot of stuff, which is what this job should be about. It's just like acting for me. It's all the stuff that's not the actual thing that I hate. It's the emails, and it's the meetings, and it's the auditions, and it's all that other stuff that's not actually the thing that I want to do. So I'm very excited. I'm excited about this new guitar. Once I get to live with it for a little while, I'm going to do a full review. That will probably be the next episode of The Story Behind the Strings. I know it's been a minute since I've done an episode of that, but again, super busy. New house, manual labor, all that fun stuff. But that's it for this week. Thanks for listening to The Story Behind the... thanks for listening to Comedy on 11, the show where I talk about comedy and music. And find us online. I'm at _Thom Tran, THOMTRAN. The show's at Comedy on 11. New trivia show coming soon that I will tell you about when I can tell you about it. But thanks for listening, and remember to turn the laughs up to 11.